Today, we're stepping bravely into creativity and how being creative can be healing. Our guest reminds us that we're all creative in one way or another, so stop putting so much pressure on yourself. In the episode, we talk about trusting your inner voice and physically speaking your dreams, goals, and desires out into the world. We also talk about the joy and magic of living a grateful life. And we'd love to hear directly from you, our listeners. What are you grateful for today? Give us a call at 312-646-0205 and share your joy with us.
Grateful, generous, and genuine.
This is Heather Vickery, and you're listening to The Brave Files, stories from people living courageously. When we choose bravely in big and small ways, it powerfully elevates our lives. I hope these stories connect with you and encourage you to embrace bravery in every possible way, day after day. Together, we can build a movement of courageous living that enriches both our lives and our communities. And if you enjoy the show, I ask you to please share it with others. Maybe think of someone who you want to choose bravely right alongside you. Thanks for tuning in. Now here's the show. This is an exciting week for me. You know, sometimes you come across someone who just gets you. You speak the same language. Your mission in life aligns. Well, that is how I feel about today's guest, Laura DeFranco. She's the owner of Brave Healer Productions. You can already see the connection, right? She's a powerhouse who writes to feng shui her soul. How cool is that? We're going to find out more about what that means. She's a 6-time published poet and author, inspirational speaker, holistic physical therapist with over 2 decades of experience in healing. Just like what we do on the Brave Files, Laura is building a revolution of brave healers who are getting their badass, authentic voices published in order to heal the world with their own words. Laura, I am so excited to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I have been really looking forward to this one.
Yes, so we had the pleasure. We met through a mutual friend, Donnie from Success Champions. And if you guys haven't listened to Donnie's episode, you should. I never have myself prepared with this. I don't remember what episode it is, but it's called Unleash Your Inner Badass. So go look for it. Donnie's fun. I'm grateful that he introduced us. I know he's listening to you. You want to say hi? Say hi, Donnie.
Hey, Donnie. We love you.
We do. Okay, so let me start by asking you, and I want to hear about your background, but really what I want to know is how in the world did you come into this work?
I know, and what is that work anyway? Yeah. I mean, I listen to my own bio and I laugh at myself because I'm like, did you ever watch that TED talk that was the multi-potentialite one?
Uh-huh.
And they were basically just saying the message that it's okay to do like 500 different things if that's who you are. I feel like that's who I am.
I totally get that.
You know, I mean, physical therapy has been an incredible career and it's what I've done for almost 30 years now, but somewhere along the line, the true healing happened when I started to speak up, write and speak, find my voice and actually share it out loud. And I would say that the heavy lifting of that journey started back somewhere around 2013, 2012, maybe when I published that first book. You know, it takes something to actually write it and then something else to decide to publish it, which means the world can read it.
Absolutely.
You know? Yeah.
Well, I had this question later on, but I'll go ahead and ask now. You have a new book out, right? Called Brave Healing, A Guide to Your Journey. This is a new one.
Yeah, the Brave Healing book came out June of last year. It's almost a year old, okay. And I guess you could still call that new. It was released by Possibilities Publishing Company, and that, oh my gosh, what an incredible journey it was to get that book into the world. So yeah, thank you very much for mentioning that.
Of course. Well, tell us a little bit about the book. And one of the questions I had for you was what your writing process was like, and if you have any tips for people out there who are trying to bravely step into becoming an author.
Oh my gosh, so many, you guys. And I think one of my favorite things to do is to inspire you to just get to the writing. And, you know, you heard Heather say, I write to feng shui my soul. I wasn't kidding. Like, that's the kind of writing that has to happen first. You have to write the stuff that clears a space.
Yeah.
And it's just like that physical decluttering, right? So I write to get all the crap out so that I can get connected to that flow, which might be the words that I actually share with my audiences. So that's tip number one, write. Just write whether you think you have anything to write. Don't make yourself any rules about it. Just get the stuff out.
Messy first draft, right? Just
yes.
Have that messy draft.
Definitely. And, Brave Healing they're calling these kinds of books teaching memoirs. So what I did was I gave you personal story. And then in every other chapter, I gave you a guided tool.
I love that.
And I married body awareness with the intuitive writing process. Those are some of the tools that I teach in the book. And so, yeah, I love that book. Aren't we all in love with our own books? Right?
I can't wait to get a copy of it. Are you kidding? I can't wait. It's right up my alley.
Thank you.
Okay, so did you have more tips? Tip number 2?
Well, so the writing just to get the stuff out is number 1, but here's the biggest number 2, because you're talking to somebody who believes that writer's block, should I say it, is for sissies. So
that doesn't mean though that sometimes it's not really hard, friends. So
I know. I should be nicer. So how about writer's block is BS?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, all it takes is connecting with your breath, with your body, actually getting embodied. Because what's happening in writer's block, you guys, is you're thinking too much. You are letting the voices paralyze you because you're making what you're feeling about your writing mean something.
Right.
And so if you get out of your own way, literally by practicing some body awareness, some breath work, some meditation, you can really connect to that place where your writing feels a little bit more flowy.
And I would say for me, one of the things that's been helpful is if I'm not feeling like writing whatever it is I'm writing, my book or blog post or whatever, write something else. Just write. Yes, exactly. Doesn't matter. Make sure that every day you're writing something.
Oh my gosh, some of the best stuff has come out of my journaling. I mean, just the writing that I didn't put any pressure on myself. I just wanted to sort of write free flow. And then a nugget comes out of that and I'm like, whoa. And then a whole blog post will come out of that one nugget.
Yeah, I totally get that. You've made an entire business out of this intuitive feng shui brave writing, not just for yourself though. You help other people do that. And I'm curious to know what that means. And I do want you to give us an actual definition of what you mean by feng shui your soul with your writing. But how do you help other people do that?
So have you ever heard, create what you need?
Yes.
And so what I needed to stay accountable to that process, both the meditative piece and the writing piece. And I started to create some programs where I guide people into those spaces. So, truly guided meditation, guided body awareness, but we match it up with the writing. And so I've got, a lot of programs, and thank you for asking me about how I teach that. Intuitive writing and speaking for healers is the one I am saying is my signature course. You guys, this is what I was born for. Seriously. Like, how cool is it that I get to say that out loud to you? I feel like this is what I was born for. The purpose in this is so fiery that I wake up every morning with no alarm clock,
Wow.
So I'm teaching it by doing some courses. I'm doing some live stuff, some online stuff, a little bit of everything, honestly.
Yeah. I love it. And everyone who listens to this show, this is not a business show. So I didn't bring you on because I wanted to necessarily sell your stuff, which is awesome. And if you need support with this, Laura is amazing. She has actually helped me out before, which is fantastic. But also there are so many listeners I know who are trying to push through with this, with writing and communicating and connecting with people. So there's so much gift in sort of hearing what your process is. So let's go back, like all the way back. When was the first time you can acknowledge or that you remember this powerful intuition that you have?
So I boarded a plane back in 2014, which seems like just a few years ago. It really was.
It was.
And and intuition started before then, but this was a moment for me. Like I was sitting on the plane. I had my journal in my purse. And I normally bring a journal and a pen everywhere that I go because, I like writing stuff down. But this moment, in the middle of the flight, I was going out to Sedona, Arizona for a continuing education course. We have to keep up our physical therapy license with a couple courses a year.
Okay.
And I pulled out the journal and the words were moving through and I wrote this whole journal thing down. And I kind of was like, whoa, what was that? And I shut the journal at the time and just didn't think a whole lot more of it, except I kept getting the little nudge, that other voice inside of you that you're paying attention to because it keeps coming up over and over.
Yep.
And it said something like, this isn't just for you. And I'm like, okay, who are you? And where are you coming from? Like, what is that voice? But when I got to the course, what went down was the message got stronger. And I ended up standing up in the middle of a room full of 220 people and reading my journal entry out loud.
Oh, wow.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's brave. I have chills.
Oh, thank you. It was definitely a goosebumps moment for me. But what was even better than the applause I got was after somebody ran after me, tapped me on the shoulder at the break. And I turned around and she looked in my eyes and she said, "Thank you for sharing that poem with us." And I looked kind of sideways at her thinking, poem? And that is the day that I became a poet.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I love that.
So I got brave. I raised my hand. I read my thing, and moving through the fear and just being out loud was something that was so raw. It was a journal entry.
Yeah. Wow.
It was an amazing moment for me.
Were you raised to listen to your intuition? Are your parents intuitive?
I was not, and I don't remember being taught this until my adult life. And, my parents were doing the best they could with what they had at the time. It just wasn't.
Don't they all?
Yeah, it wasn't like something that was the dinner table talk. You know what I love? I love that it is now with my kids.
Right. How do you do that? So I absolutely, my oldest kid thinks I'm crazy. She teases me. I love oils and I sage and I'm all about intuition and manifestation. And she's like, "Mommy, don't do your witchy stuff." Like, I'm Glenda the Good Witch. Actually, well, depends on which version of Wizard of Oz you want to watch. That. If it's the Wicked version or the TV version. But we do talk a lot about trusting yourself, listening to that inner voice, and then voicing it, not just thinking it, but feeling it and then letting it out and releasing. Yeah. So how do you bring that into conversation with your own kids?
Well, you just hit it on the head. Intuition is a felt sense. And if you don't have anyone teaching you or helping you understand that the feeling you have in your physical body is actually the language of your soul, the language of your intuition, you're not really sure what you feel at first. It either feels really great or it feels really bad. Yeah. And unless someone is saying, "Hey, yeah, that feels bad to you. You need to trust that. You need to make decisions based on what that feeling is inside of you." If you don't have those teachers, it can be very confusing because the rest of the world is teaching you to ignore the way you feel.
Yes. Yeah.
And to shove it down and to not speak up and
suck it up and get over it.
Yeah.
God, and I won't say her name because I don't want to be a hater, but there's a fairly new author out on the scene whose concept is sort of, girl, just get over it. I sort of got really close there, but
yes, got it.
And I have a real issue with that. And I know, pretty much every woman that I know has been reading these books, and I don't believe that that's the healthiest approach, to just suck it up and get over it and move on. For me, I think the more powerful, empowering, and brave thing to do is to say, I feel this way about this thing, and now I know it, and I'm not going to let it inform me or make my decisions for me. I'm stronger than the way this feels.
Yes, with awareness, you get the choice. And I'm telling you, everything is about awareness. This whole conversation is about that.
Yeah.
And so if you have the awareness, guess what? Then you get to choose. And it's at that point that the courage comes up. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, you may have to choose something that nobody else has chosen, that everyone else is teaching you not to choose, that basically, you may have to choose something for yourself that you've been taught is bad or rude or bragging or
Yeah.
gosh, think of all the words that we've been told, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Language is so important. Words matter so much. And I spend so much of my own time reframing my words. The things come out and I'm, nope, I don't mean that. I don't feel that way. And
Yeah.
helping my girls do that because, but I see it working. I have this 14-year-old who has all the same 14-year-old issues every kid in the world has. And gosh, some of it, like, I don't know how this beautiful kid, I'm careful. I don't ever talk about body image in general,
Mm,
but somehow this perfect human doesn't think she looks good in a bathing suit. She's like
yeah.
100 pounds soaking wet. But I do hear her process things the way that I'm showing her to do. It wouldn't work to tell her. She wouldn't do
Right.
that.
Right.
But she thinks through things and she'll say, I don't like that. I don't like the way that feels. I'm not going to choose that. And the other day she came to me and she said, Mommy, I did something really brave today. Right now, I don't remember what it was, but she knew it was a big deal. Right.
Yeah.
And I just
Awesome.
thought that was incredible. It is a feeling. Laura, for you, throughout this, as you started to really listen to this and build this as, your core income and part of your life, what's been the biggest struggle?
Oh, getting past the second guessing my intuition, possibly
Yeah.
getting past the, just making the decision and moving forward. I'll call it selfishly. And
Why?
because
Why
there's
would you call it
always
selfishly?
selfishly in a good way, unapologetically.
Okay. I like that
But
better.
getting past the doubt of it, though,
Right.
that little what if voice that comes up, that unrelenting voice that keeps wanting to tell you, ooh, what if this happens? What if that happens? I don't know. Maybe that sort of message is, we all call it different things like inner critic
Right.
messages or
Right.
whatever, self-sabotaging.
Mm-hmm.
When I finally figured out that piece, the puzzle piece that was the awareness of my own thoughts, it had to be married with what I really truly desired, for everything, my relationships, my business, my life. And it was pretty funny in the beginning. I'm like, what the heck do I even want? I
Right.
don't even know what I
Yeah.
want,
Yeah.
So I really think that that's step one. Along with the awareness, you have to really feel into what you truly want. And then when you are aware of your thoughts and you've got that mindset down, I don't think there's anything stopping you at that point. At least it felt like that to me.
Right. No, I completely agree. And I also want to acknowledge for everybody that it is hard and often scary to figure out what you want. When we
Yeah.
sit with the silence and we really give ourselves time to think and reflect, that is not always the easiest process. It's the most rewarding process. It will get you where you want to go in ways that choosing differently won't. But I don't want to fool anybody. Like, that's brave work because that's
Yes.
difficult to do.
It is difficult. I had somebody say to me once, I had such a breakthrough. They said, staying confused is easier than
Oh, yeah.
making the clear decision.
Oh, yeah.
And I always tell people, you know what? If you're in confusion, it just means you're not in action and it will paralyze you. I mean, you rather just go ahead and choose something because guess what? You can change your
That's
mind.
that's the best part. Yes, I tell clients that all the time. This doesn't work,
Yeah.
do something else. Who cares?
Yep. Exactly.
Yes. I love that you just said that. Absolutely. So, what's been the best surprise? Something that you sort of didn't expect, but it's been magic.
Mm. Um, when I made a choice to weed out some toxic people from my life and really go for full on positivity,
Yes.
and like I'll use the word unapologetically again,
I like it.
then what surprised me is the almost instant manifestation of the community I craved.
Again,
And
goosebumps. I feel
uh,
you. Yeah.
And all I want to do now is just tell the world, listen, it's scary to let go of people and things and situations. And it's scary, but oh my God, is it awesome when you finally follow your heart, your intuition, your knowing, and just go for it. It will pay back times 1,000.
Yeah. Have you experienced or felt in your life that there's sort of a 7-year wave where we shift just enough that we have to shed things that don't serve us anymore?
The 7-year wave. I'm not sure if I've done the math on my life like that, but I get you.
Yeah.
I feel like mine is more like 1-year waves.
Well, that's okay too. Yeah.
Yes. And I have had a magical thing happen every single birthday month for the last 5 years. That's so funny. I haven't really told this story before. Nobody's really made me think about it. My BFF does all the time. She's like, oh my God, remember last year?
I want to share some of these magic experiences.
Just, showing up like, when you like sign up for something new, or maybe you invest in yourself and you're scared out of your mind, but you do it anyway, and you show up and you meet people and things happen. And there's like these little mini transformations that like someone is picking you up literally and placing you down in another direction. And you are just walking forward in that direction, that new direction. Yeah. So some of them have been, like the story I told you when I stood up and read the journal entry. I'm like, whoa, okay. And after that, I wrote at least 50 poems came out of me.
Wow.
After that experience. Yes, that was transformational. The following year, it was a writing retreat. I came home on the plane from that retreat thinking to myself, oh my God, my whole life is going to change. And I got really scared and really excited at the same time.
Can you share with us what writing retreat that was? Because I want to go.
Yes, the Haven Writing Retreat. And Miss Laura Munson is going to be very happy to know that I dropped her name on this show. She has writing retreats, and they are for anybody who enjoys the writing process. You do not have to be a published author, a seasoned writer. You can go just because you think you love to write,
Awesome. Well, I would love to connect with her and attend a retreat like that. It sounds fascinating, fabulous.
Yeah, you would love it. It's in Montana too, by the way, which is just like, if you haven't been to Montana, you just totally need to go.
Okay. I think this is calling to me. It's telling me. I'm feeling it completely. Do you have a gratitude practice?
I have had a gratitude practice for a long time. I both write it, but now I say it out loud.
Yes, I do too.
Yeah, verbal, like out loud affirmations have been one of those magical things where at one point in my life I thought, oh my gosh, it's so corny. And I would, am I really going to do this like in the mirror or walking around my house and nobody's around, or to my dogs or whatever, But I'm telling you guys, what they say about this is totally true. Speak your dreams out loud as if they've already happened.
Yeah.
And it's energetic. This is why this works. Yeah, you're setting up a vibration that is really, truly, it's felt magical to me.
I completely agree with you. I've started taking gratitude as an instant transformation for something that feels icky to me. So a really silly example is I'm stuck in traffic on the expressway and I don't know why there's traffic. There's probably an accident. And so instead of like just being angry that I'm late and I can't get anywhere, I will say, I am so grateful that I'm safe, that I wasn't in an accident, that I get to go home to my kids later. That seems so silly, but science has proven, and I talk about this in my gratitude journal, that our brains can't hold negative and positive thoughts at the same time. So you have a choice, friends. Like, you can decide to feel bad and to be negative. And it doesn't mean that the feeling goes away, but you can change the language, which crowds the feeling out.
For sure. Yeah. I started a morning and an evening gratitude practice after reading a book by Dr. Wayne Dyer a while ago.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He is. Excuses Be Gone was that book. And he suggested just spending the first few minutes as your eyes are opening in the morning, and then again as they're closing at night, in gratitude. And while I love being in gratitude all day long, I especially love starting my day and ending my day that way.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. I really like that a lot. I may play with that. I use gratitude in a million different ways throughout my day, and I always love new approaches to it. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
What I would love to know is you are such a strong energy. You said that writer's block was for sissies. We reframed that. But you have this really like strong image. I know you do a lot of work. You use the word badass a lot, which I support. I think it's amazing. But I think it can falsely give people the impression that you aren't ever scared. And I know
Oh my
that
God.
that's not true, right? Because we're all scared. So, what I'd love to hear is how do you move through fear?
No, I think the people that are healers and out loud speakers and people like you who are talking about these topics every day, we all have the most fear. It's just that we're figuring out how to move through it.
Right.
Yeah, definitely not that we're fearless. It's just that we've had to come to grips with it probably even a little bit more than your average person. We make the feeling of fear and the overcoming and reframing a habit, a practice, a discipline. And I love to have more fun with my fear these days. I'm completely reframing it for myself. I feel it every single day. Yeah. So people who see me and, I'm a big energy. I had a coach once say to me, it takes a little stamina to roll with you. And I thought, at first I was like crushed, I was taking it personally. And then I realized it was actually kind of a compliment, and
It
I could
is.
just be me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. But do you have any, like when you start to feel it? I can't speak for you, but for me, when fear, something really takes me, and often it's not, I don't often experience like, I'm afraid of falling down the stairs. Sometimes I used to when I was pregnant. I had this super irrational fear of falling down the stairs or like, getting hit by a car, having somebody kidnapped, not that kind of thing. But maybe if I think I've made a really big public mistake or
Yes. A
I've humiliated
humiliation
myself.
thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
The fear, like I can feel it rises up from my back and it gets hot and my hair rises. And like, if you experience that sort of, what do you do to move through it?
I really feel like, and this is another bold statement, and I'm talking about myself right now, but yeah, I'm talking about all of you too. Your fear of not good enough is boring. And it's the thing is like, and I have the initials of that statement tattooed on my arm. Seriously.
I love it.
Because I needed a constant reminder that if I shared my story authentically from my heart to my tongue or my pen, then you're getting the authentic me. There's nothing really for me to be embarrassed about or humiliated by. And here's the stronger thing: what if my words change or save somebody's life?
Yeah. That's why I do this show.
Yeah. So my fear of not good enough is boring. And I just, I have somebody who helped me move into that. I feel the feeling, which is, oh, you described it so well a minute ago, that feeling inside of you. It's nauseous.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, your legs drop out from underneath you. It's such a terrible feeling, right?
Yeah, it is.
But fear is just a feeling, you guys. Fear is just a feeling. It's what we're making it mean in our head that becomes the paralyzing factor. And
Yes.
so that's how I overcome now. I recognize it, the awareness. I realize that not good enough thing, or, what if somebody says this or thinks that is totally boring. And then I go ahead and share the authentic story from my heart anyway. And when you do that, there's no real chance you're going to hurt anybody by it because you're framing it from your own feeling. You're not attacking anyone. You're not, you know what I mean?
I love that. Yeah. Yes. I really like that concept that once you recognize it's yours and that you're making it about you, then others presumably can't own it. If they do, they've got their own work to do, right?
Exactly. It's on them.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to know, Laura, and I'm really excited to hear you answer this. How do you celebrate success?
Oh, oh gosh, this is going to sound so corny. You know what? Every single day that we are alive is a frickin' success.
I agree. My dad will say that. I'll say, "What are you grateful for today?" And he said, "Putting 2 feet on the ground." Like,
Yes. I
yes.
feel successful when you were mentioning your daughter, I think, and mine too. Like, I feel successful when we have a great conversation. I feel successful when I remembered to breathe deeply today. I feel successful when I help somebody, discover their own words and then bring that out into the world. That's what I'm doing for a living. But I try not to base my success on any big achievement anymore,
Agreed.
because it's
Yeah.
such it sets you up. The perfectionism sets you up for a lot of
I
things,
agree,
you
which is why I ask about celebration, and I want to know, like, when something happens that makes you feel good or you're proud of. For me, those who listen know it's almost always a dance party. It's almost always Pink's Raise Your Glass, and I just dance my heart out in my house.
Yes.
But when you've done something that you feel particularly good about, whether it's business or personal or whatever, how do you like to celebrate?
I party. I get my friends together and I actually make a special big deal about it. And it's funny. Thank you for making me answer the question.
Oh yeah, that's what I do.
Yes, I'm glad you did, because I feel like sometimes I'm the only one that will have a party for a success. A good example actually is back in 2011. My son and I earned our black belts together. And
Congratulations.
thank you. And that was a long time ago, but I had a party. I held a big frickin'
I
party,
love that.
and nobody else in my school held a party for that.
I
And it
love it.
may have been looked at as bragging or boasting or this or that, but you know what? We spent 6 years training together and earned that together. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had a big
That
fat
deserved
party.
a celebration.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And those are big things and big celebration. And I love it. It's a shame that you're the only one that did some sort of celebration for that. But sometimes, some days, like finishing a blog post or sitting
Yes.
down to read a book feels like enough of an accomplishment that I want to say, I did this thing really well. I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm going to take a nap, or I don't know, right? Like,
Yeah.
celebrate all the things.
All the
Y'all
things.
hear this from me every week,
Yes.
but I can't tell you enough how important it is in the motivation train, right? In keeping you excited and engaged in what's happening in your life.
I love that. Sometimes all it is just speaking to the people in your immediate vicinity. Oh my gosh, this is something to celebrate today. Let's break open a little champagne or
Yeah.
the sparkling cider, and let's just have a toast.
Yeah.
Let's just say it out loud.
Yeah.
Thank you for this moment. Let's celebrate together. And sometimes I think it's really just the being out loud about it.
I love it. Yes. I love that whole living out loud idea. I'm working right now on loving out loud.
Mm. Oh my gosh. Yes. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. I
I love
am.
that.
I am,
Yes. I'm so with
because
you.
what good does it do if it's not out loud?
I hear you.
Right. And people want to say all the time, oh, it's not about your words, it's about your actions, which is certainly very true. But your words matter so much, which ties in so beautifully with what you do, right? Your words
Listen,
make
this is
such a
it.
big deal. There's so much of an impact.
Yes. Okay. You just hit on something that, I don't know, maybe it's a trigger for me, but people like to say it's more about actions than words. But guess what, you guys? Speaking out loud is one of the most powerful actions
Yeah.
you can ever take in terms of loving somebody.
Yeah.
And so, people who want to say to you, well, shouldn't my actions be enough? Why do I have to say it? Why do I have to say I love you? Because guess what? Saying it out loud takes some balls.
Yeah. And it's not
Yes.
just I love you. Also, loving out loud for me is saying I'm sorry.
Yes.
I made a mistake.
Exactly.
There's so many ways. Yes. And I remind my kids of the things, like I'll say I love watching you fall asleep in my arms. I love watching you perform or play or think or giggle with each other, right? I let them know that I see these things that they do and I
Yep.
absorb them, and that they matter, and that they're important.
That right there heals the world, my dear.
Yeah, I'm with you. I love it. All right. Well, I know you and I could talk for a very long time, but we are at the final question, which is one of my favorite questions. What is your favorite charitable organization to support?
Ooh. Um, so here's how that works in my head. I've supported Women for Women International, and I've supported SPCA, and I've supported some big places, but here's what I'm loving more these days. For instance, I have a friend who has an adult special daughter, and the daughter is knitting hats for preemies.
Oh, I love
and,
that.
And yeah, and honestly, I love supporting my individual friends who are doing these things, and they may not be a big organization.
Yeah.
They might, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Miss Manuela, if you're listening, I love you, and I love what you're doing with your daughter and your cause. And yes, I will buy more hats.
Oh my gosh. Well, make sure you share the link with us so we can put it in the show notes.
I will.
I am with you on that. Everybody who listens to the show knows, and actually, even if you don't listen, but you know me, which they won't hear this, but it's the truth. I believe so deeply in that level of compassion to give back and be part of the community and the world. And often that's money. Sometimes it's not. I sort of have a general rule that if I see a need, I do my best to fill at least a tiny part of it. So thank you for reminding us that there are a lot of ways to give back and connect.
Yeah.
I dig
Thank
it.
you.
So Laura, would you share your 3 words with us one last time?
Grateful, generous, and genuine.
So
My 3 Gs.
Your 3 Gs. I was going to say, when I first asked you what your 3 words were, you said they were your 3 Gs. Do you want to quickly tell me about how you use the 3 Gs?
Well, living my life in gratitude every day is magical. It completely changes my energy every single day. And, life is good that way.
Yeah.
Generous is the theme of my year this year. And when you are being generous, almost automatically you are in gratitude. So they go together for me.
They do.
Genuine is just, when you're hearing me talk to you, this is me, you guys. This is the real me, the authentic me, the genuine me. Like, I don't have anything to hide, and I truly care about, infusing you with these good vibes. So I hope you got some today.
I love it. Absolutely. I think it was great. A lot of fun. I can't wait for future opportunities to connect with you. We're going to share all of your contact information online so people can get to know you and find you.
Thank you.
Listeners, if you didn't already know this from being a regular listener to the show, there are really so many ways to invite bravery into your life. I'm particularly grateful that Laura has shown us her beautiful gift of brave writing and how she shares that with the world. Now, here's what I want you all to do. I would like to know what new brave thing you're up to. Send us a message on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Easy to find. Share your stories of bravery with us. They don't have to be big. Tell us what you did today or this week that had an impact on you and how you're sharing it with the world. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the show. It truly helps so much. We cannot grow without you. So, Laura, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. That was an awesome conversation.
It really was. And listeners, this is Heather Vickery reminding you today and always to go out and choose bravely. You've been listening to The Brave Files, stories from people living courageously. To learn more about the show, find our show notes, or get some great bonus content, visit thebravefilespodcast.com. And we'd love to know what you think. You can give us a call at 312-646-0205. Let us know your thoughts on the episode, the show in general, or maybe share with us how you're out choosing bravely. This episode is brought to you by Vickery & Co. Success Coaching that helps you maintain a life well lived and a business well run. Learn more at vickeryandco.com. Our music is produced by Matt Lewis. Follow him on Instagram at mattmmusic or visit his website, theunionband.com. We couldn't do any of this without our extraordinary audio engineer, Andrew Olson. Learn more about him and check out his work at findandrewolson.com. And special thanks to our associate producer, Kim Statler. I'm your host and executive producer, Heather Vickery. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next week. This episode is brought to you by Audible. Audible content includes an unmatched selection of audiobooks. Check it out for yourself and get your 30-day free trial, including one free audiobook. Simply visit audibletrial.com/thebravefiles and voila, free audiobooks. What could be better than that?